What is private cloud and what is public cloud?
So what is cloud? Okay, primarily cloud is anything which is delivered as a service, right? So if you give a server as a service, which is infrastructure as a services, you give platform, which is a database or a web services as a service, then it is a platform as a services. If you give functionality as a service, say for example HRMS as a service to a customer, then it is software as a service. The difference between private and a public cloud is private is built into customer's data center, which has no connection outside, and public cloud which is delivered out of from an internet, where a public cloud is shared between multiple customers, whereas private cloud is one customer, one setup. That's the primary difference.
Can you tell the audience what is the difference between agent, bouquet of agent, and maybe you start from the scratch from the LLM? What is the difference?
First of all, let's start with what is a generative AI. Because we have been talking about AI for 2-3 years now. Okay, actually more than that. AI is as a concept is there for last 7, 8, 10 years, more than that. In fact, artificial intelligence as a word was coined in 1960s.
1960s, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So artificial intelligence was there, but why we are talking about AI all of a sudden now with an invention, or not an invention, with a product coming as a ChatGPT in 2022, which is a generative AI. What's a generative AI is where the information or the answer is generated. It is not pre-built. Right? Earlier what used to happen is you give a task, there is a pre-built intelligence and the response was also pre-built. Here, based upon your objective, the task is actually getting framed. So based upon first word, second word is getting generated, right? That's why what you used to see earlier days is whenever you ask a question to ChatGPT, word by word answer used to come.
What do you feel is the general myth जो समाज में है? Starting a business का सबसे बड़ा myth क्या लगता है आपको? लोगों के मन में क्या है?
सबसे बड़ा myth is कि एक बिजनेस बहुत इजी होता है, any business easy नहीं होता. Okay, business is difficult. You will have to take all the risk, right? So for example, I got to know today only that when you are in your final year of engineering, you started your business, yes, right? Sir. So that's a risk, right? So that's a very big risk. And 2014 was an early days of a startup. Not many people were aware about startup, right? So yes, you took that risk. So ऐसा कभी भी नहीं होगा कि हम AI को साइडलाइन रखेंगे और AI के अगेंस्ट जाएंगे.
वो तो होगा ही नहीं,
राइट? हर कस्टमर AI यूज करेगा, हर टेकी यूज करेगा, हर यूजर करेगा. जो टेक्निकल है या नॉन टेक्निकल है वो AI यूज करेगा. ओके, हमें एक्चुअली ये देखना है कि हम AI को किस तरह यूज करेंगे.
Because there is a lot of discussion on that. ये business चलेगा, ये business नहीं चलेगा, ये obsolete हो जाएगा. What do you feel as a person working in the AI? कौन से प्रकार के business रहेंगे या obsolete हो जाएंगे? कौन से प्रकार के?
जो भी business जो AI को adopt नहीं करेंगे वो obsolete हो जाएंगे.
कोई भी business जो AI को adopt नहीं करेंगे वो obsolete हो जाएगा.
हाँ, business आज AI हर एक business
में. But can AI completely replace that business? No. कोई भी business को replace नहीं कर सकता.
It is an assistive intelligence. I said in my definition of AI, I said assistive intelligence.
What is the difference between context और memory? There is a memory in the LLM. What is the difference?
So आपका context memory में चला जाता है. Okay? आज अगर आप ChatGPT को same topic पे question पूछ रहे हो, okay? एक situation आता है, उसके बाद में आपको तो context देने की जरूरत नहीं होती, उसको पता होता है. Okay? तो वो memory है.
So today we have with us Mr. Vishal Chandane sir, who is the founder and CEO of Avinash Technology Private Limited. So sir is from Mumbai and today sir is with us. So sir, how are you feeling now?
Feeling good.
Okay. So बहुत सारी चीज़ें हम लोग डिस्कस करने वाले हैं AI एंड टेक्नोलॉजी के बारे में.
Okay.
बट जो आपने मुझे पॉडकास्ट शुरू होने से पहले जो बताया, अलाइसेंस, ये नाम आपने क्यों रखा आपकी कंपनी का?
So Ally is a buddy, right? So basically what we are doing is we are creating an AI solutions which will help customers to optimize their business processes, right? So to optimize the business process, you need a buddy, you need someone who will guide and advise, or he will maneuver the entire process, right? So that's why we thought Ally is a good word we can start with, and sense is like, we are making a sense of AI technologies, right? So primarily because AI is a concept which is being talked a lot. There are a lot of things about AI. There are a lot of solutions can be created. A lot of concepts are there. What we are trying to do is we are trying to actually clear all the doubts. We are trying to make sense out of AI, package it into a solution which will make sense for customers, and that's why it is Avinash Technologies.
Yeah, so what a great name, sir.
Thank you very much.
So first question I want to ask you, we have seen a lot of eras.
Yeah.
We have seen infrastructure, then we have seen the boom of cloud.
Correct.
Then today there is a buzzword called AI.
Yeah.
What it takes as a leader to get evolve and be relevant in all the eras, because you have seen all those eras, right?
Yeah, and fortunately, I was driving in most of the eras, right? So I started my journey in a not even cloud infrastructure. I started my journey with a physical infrastructure. So I used to work with a company called as CMC, which used to be Government of India Enterprise.
CMC.
CMC, okay, which was later acquired by TCS. So I used to be a hardware engineer. So we used to manage mainframe servers for stock exchanges and Indian Navy and
In which year?
I started in 2000, right? 99, 2000. That's the era, right? So I'm now an old timer into system, but I started my journey there. So I've worked on mainframes, I've worked on the Unix systems, and then in sometimes Unix obviously will go out and x86 or Linux or internet facing operating systems will come in. So I moved from Unix to Linux, then I moved to solutions engineering, then I moved to product engineering, product management, etc. Right? And then I moved from CMC to a data center company called as Reliance Infocom, and then from Reliance Infocom I moved to HP and then IBM. So in HP, I used to manage virtualization. So I used to be a product manager for VMware. So that time VMware was an upcoming technology. So virtualization was upcoming. And then I was fortunate enough to drive virtualization business for HP in India. Then in HP itself, I was actually just in time or ahead of time to build and drive private cloud business for HP. And that's how my journey in cloud started, right? So I started doing private cloud as a solution in way back in 2009 or 10 time frame, which is like early stage even for private clouds. And then what I thought is, public cloud could be an upcoming thing, and we started a new venture called as FE Cloud, which is my brand name, and the company name was All-Time IT. What we started doing is we started giving infrastructure as a services, public cloud infrastructure as a services, which Amazon, Azure, Google gives. We started giving in India in 2011, probably a couple of years ahead of time. But I was fortunate enough to be in the upcoming technology in every technology curve, right? So instead of following the curve, I'm fortunate enough to be part of the particular curve, be part of the curve when the growth was actually happening, right? So one classic example, right? All-Time IT, where we built a public cloud a little ahead of time, right? So Amazon came into India in 2016, but we started giving public cloud as a services in 2011. So which is like 2-3 years ahead of time. So we spend a lot of time only educating the customer, where a startup cannot get into an education of the business, right? It has to hit the revenue very, very fast.
Right.
So that is the big challenge.
So all
right?
the time was invested in the awareness kind of
awareness,
thing.
right? And by the time awareness came, Amazon and Microsoft came into India, right? So it is very, very difficult for a startup to go and compete against a big daddies like Amazon or Microsoft, right? So that's a big challenge, right? So I thought of that's not the way to compete against the big giants. So rather than competing, let's go shake hand with those big giants. So that's how we closed our business, or I exited, and the investors continued.
In 2000?
In 2016.
16.
Okay, 2016 I started a company called as CloudExchange.io, which is again just in time, and a timing makes a lot of sense, right? So my previous company, we were a little ahead of time. In CloudExchange.io, we were just in time because Amazon came to India in 2016. We started in the same time, and we helped a lot of customers to migrate from an on-premises to public cloud. We help customers to modernize their applications on public cloud, right? And then we managed more than 300 customers. We did cloud transformation for more than 300 customers, and while we were doing all that, we grew our business upwards of 100% year on year, right? So that's a successful journey of how a startup can be scaled. And we were fortunate enough that it was acquired by a leading IT company called as NSE IT in 2022.
22.
And then and eventually NSE IT also sold it to Investcorp, which is one of the largest private equity player, right? So though I've seen the entire journey
Entire
of
journey of
one startup which did not do well, another startup which did well got acquired, and then again got merged into a large entity, and then again sold and acquired by a private equity player, right? So entire journey of a typical startup founder kind of completed, not it not a completed say, but this is what I have done so far.
So you mentioned two words. First, you said about the private cloud and then
Correct.
the public
Correct.
cloud. I just want to understand from a very what we say a raw perspective. What is private cloud and what is public cloud?
Okay, so what is cloud? Okay, primarily, cloud is anything which is delivered as a service, right? So if you give a server as a service, which is infrastructure as a services, you give platform, which is a database or a web services as a service, then it is a platform as a services. If you give functionality as a service, say for example HRMS as a service to a customer, then it is software as a service. The difference between private and a public cloud is private is built into customer's data center, which has no connection outside, and public cloud which is delivered out of from an internet, where a public cloud is shared between multiple customers, whereas private cloud is one customer, one setup. Right? That's the primary difference
There is a primary difference.
yeah, between a private and a public cloud.
Okay. And you mentioned about NEC IT acquired
Correct.
your previous company, right?
Correct.
So how was the experience that time? You were happy, emotional, or what was that feeling that time?
So it's a mixed bag, right? So every a dream of every startup founder is a validation, right? So constantly, whenever we are building a startup, we were always doubting, like, am I doing right? Is it the correct thing? Is it getting valued in the market? While the numbers will show the growth, but then eventually market validation is something which is very important, right? So NSE IT acquisition, NSE obviously is a very big brand. That big brand acquiring a very small company, it's a validation that we were doing something good.
Something good.
Okay, and that was something positive side of it. Obviously, it is 100% acquisition, so somewhere it also feels bad, like a baby which you have built.
Yeah, that is an emotional kind of feeling.
A baby which you have built right from scratch. We have built it, now started running, and then it is getting sold to someone else. But that's a journey, right? So we have to go as per the journey. Okay.
It also sometimes give you the confidence, as you rightly mentioned about the validation.
Correct.
Point. So then after acquiring that company by NEC, वो phase कैसा था? How you landed in Alice Sense now?
Yeah. So वो अच्छा फेस था. जैसे we एक डिफरेंस होता है between a startup and a corporate, right? So startup is like everything to fast track, everything to get the things done as early as possible, without much of a process.
भागा-दौड़ी ज़्यादा.
भागा-दौड़ी, right? Like you see an opportunity, you run after it, grab it as early as possible, right? And that's where startups are more agile, more dynamic, more quick. But that's a limitation for a startup also, right? Because startups, then you cannot scale a startup. Okay, with such a dynamic process, it's very difficult for a startup to
Every
scale.
day we are
right?
running only for the cash flow and all the firefighting situations coming from here and there.
And a corporate, and that a corporate like NSCIT, which is more governance heavy, which is required, right? You just cannot run a company without governance. So that also is a learning, like how can we build a processes, how can we build a governance structure within the organization, so that even if founder is not there running the business should run, right? So how to actually run that kind of a business which will run autonomously, it's something which you can learn from a corporate or enterprise, right? So that's a journey. So that's what I have learned when we moved from a startup phase to an acquired phase, where we were part of a big group. So how to run the corporates, how to run the governance, how to manage cash flow, how to do prediction. So cost management, so all those things, something which I have learned.
Learn and now implementing in the new company.
Yeah, I'm trying. So again, back to square one with a new company. Again we are running. We are running after new goals, and now that I'm more prepared, So every mistake which we did it during my previous startup, like in terms of governance, policies, documentation, those I'm taking care of right now.
Okay, so can we understand more about your company, AliSense? What exactly it does?
Correct.
Who are your target customers and what?
Yeah. So basically, what we actually learned in my previous company is my previous company used to help customers to take their workload to a public cloud, right? So we used to migrate from on-premises to a public cloud, which is AWS.
Their local data we used to migrate to the cloud. That is
Correct.
what you mean to
Yeah,
say?
local infrastructure, local applications.
Local
like,
applications.
So your trading application or a banking application, you move from delivering from a non-private data center to a public data center, and when you deliver it from a public data center, there are a lot of infrastructure and PaaS services being leveraged by a lot of customers, right? So today, if you are doing a banking, internet banking kind of an application delivered from a public cloud, it has got infrastructure, it has got application, it has got object storages, some security components, etc. Right? So what actually started happening is most of the customers started facing compliance challenges.
Compliance challenge.
Compliance challenges, right? Because every day when you put an application or internet facing application delivered from a cloud, security is very, very important for every regulated industries to be very, very specific, right? So then you have to manage a lot of security and compliances. You have to manage a lot of automation, right, for enterprise customers. Now, what customers started facing is instead of putting their lot of time in building and innovating their business application, they started putting a lot of time in managing their workloads on cloud, managing security, compliances,
So
operational activities.
this is completely non-productive thing for them.
Non-productive things, right? And what actually has happened is, based upon various global studies by even Gartner and others, okay, we have seen is a lot of enterprises spends about 50% of their time in only keeping the lights on, which is governance, audit, and compliance, security, workflows, etc. Right? So I was kind of thinking, like, what can we do to solve this particular problem, right? And as the AI technology was getting evolved, I thought of how can an AI be used to automate some of the activities which is a mundane, regulated, or a repetitive kind of a task, and that's where AI agents will play a very, very important role. So what we did is we built a product called as Codly.ai, which is a product of Codly, Codly, Codly.ai. It's a bouquet of AI agents which will help customers to automate more than 60 to 70% of their cloud management and operations tasks, right? And when we do this, what we have started building a concept called as policy as a code. So basically what happens is, if you are managing an IT team for a corporate, for an enterprise, right? We may have 20-25 people in your IT team. What these people need to do is they will have to manage infrastructure based upon certain standards, and those standards could be your corporate policy, could be your governance policy, could be your compliance policies, right? And that's how a typical organization is getting run, right? So every employee needs to follow certain rules and guidelines and policies. Now, if an employee needs to follow rules, guidelines, and policy, why not an AI needs to follow rules and policies and guidelines, right? And that's where we started building a concept called as policy as a code, where we build the policies which is driven as per various compliance standards, regulatory guidelines, as well as corporate preferences, and then we help AI agents to go and function or control the activity based upon the policies and guidelines, so that AI agent, which is an autonomous agent, will never do any activity which is not as per your corporate compliance or security guidelines, right? And that's what we
कोई
do.
violate नहीं करेगा वो rule.
Correct.
Whatever rules are there.
Correct. So कोई violate नहीं करेगा, because हमने क्या किया है, एक set boundary कर दी है कि AI agent यही काम करेगा,
सारे
ये काम
clauses
नहीं
उसमें
कर
डाल दिए.
सकता, right? So उसमें क्या होता है कि then customer will get a confidence that this is the boundary which is set, and which is one of the biggest risks why AI adoption is very, very a little concerning for some of the customers is like they don't know what agent will do, because, and that's why people
There is no
cannot,
control, right?
there is no control. That's why we cannot make it autonomous, right? We cannot make it fully autonomous, right? So that is where what we do is we make it as a policy, as a code. Every time the agents will follow certain policies, and we make sure that there is always a human in loop wherever agent needs to change anything, right? So that's what we do.
So you give the specific permissions to the agent,
Correct.
right? And there is a human in the loop who approves certain things.
That's right. So if, for example, if there is a certain incident, right? So if my internet banking application is hosted, all of a sudden banking application goes down because of certain infrastructure related issue, right? We get an alert. Typically what used to happen is a human engineer will get a ticket after 2 rounds of flowing,
Right.
okay, and then the human engineer will try to figure it out what happened. Okay, then he will try to validate, he will check the logs, he will check the server, he will check storage, and then he will
Try to
find out,
diagnose the problem.
diagnose the problem. He will try to figure out what happened, right? What actually happening is, while he's doing all the things, we are losing the important time, which is,
Exactly.
the application is dying, business has gone down. What we do is, with our approach is, whenever there is an incident, instead of a human agent working on it immediately, AI agent starts working on it, because it's an application, it's a code. It will go and check whether the server is really down, okay, whether application is down or infrastructure is down or operating system is crashed, what exactly is the issue. It will go and check the logs, what has happened with that particular server in last 24 hours, whether this particular transaction has translated into a downtime of a server or not. And once it does all this validation, which happens in seconds, then it will involve a human agent, and a human agent will get a completely autonomous response from an AI agent saying that, this is the downtime, this is what exactly the fact are, the server is down, I have checked the logs, this is maybe a probable cause, and this is what you need to do to take a corrective action. Then, and we obviously give multiple recommendations, so human agent has to select what's the most appropriate ones. Moment you select that, the AI agent will take over and it will complete the activity, right? So what actually happening is, previously couple of hours were taken by a team of people to go and address the issue.
Absolutely.
Now it is in minutes.
So it is like a smart troubleshooting.
That's right. It is like what typically we say that, AI is artificial intelligence. What I say is, typically it is an assisted intelligence, where AI agents are assisting humans and giving all those intelligence to solve the problem, right? And probably I feel assistive intelligence or assisted intelligence is a proper long form of AI, which is a practical in use, right? So
So you mentioned about the agents and bouquet of agents.
yeah, that's right.
Is it the right word I'm using?
A bouquet of agents.
Bouquet of agents.
Yes.
So can you tell the audience what is the difference between agent, bouquet of agent, and maybe you start from the scratch from the LLM. What is the difference?
So first of all, let's start with what is a generative AI, because we have been talking about AI for 2-3 years now. Okay, actually more than that.
More than that.
AI is as a concept is there for last 7, 8, 10 years, more than that.
More than that.
In fact, artificial intelligence as a word was coined in 1960s.
1960s, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So artificial intelligence was there, but why we are talking about AI all of a sudden now? With an invention, or not an invention, with a product coming as a Chat GPT in 2022, which is a generative AI. What's a generative AI is where the information or the answer is generated. It is not pre-built, right? Earlier what used to happen is, you give a task, there is a pre-built intelligence, and the response was also pre-built. Here, based upon your objective, the task is actually getting framed. So based upon first word, second word is getting generated, right? That's why what you used to see earlier days is, whenever you ask a question to Chat GPT, word by word answer used to come.
Right.
Because based upon the first word, second word was getting generated, and then the third was getting generated, and that's how the context was getting built, right?
Context was getting built, the memory.
So that's how that's why it is called a generative AI. Now, what is an LLM? It is a large language model. Okay, In a very very crude terms, what's a language model is? It's a model which has learned every kind of intelligence available around. So basically there is a lot of intelligence available on every subject and every domain on the internet, right? Whether it is accounting, law, or technology, or coding, or programming, everything is been there
Any
around,
topic whatsoever.
right?
Yeah.
What this large language model companies, what they have done is they have taken all the trainings, all the content, and they have trained their model on all those technologies, right? And that's where you got the same model, which is Chat GPT, can give you code, can give you essay, can give you poem, can create an image also for you, because
Right.
it has been trained on various concept and technologies, right? So it is up to us what can we ask to this particular model, and our model will give that answer to you, right? So that is a large language model. Now large language model has an advantage, which is like, it has got a lot of information. Okay, it will give you answers, but it cannot take actions, right? So
It can't execute.
it cannot execute, right? I cannot go and tell that, in chat gpt on my desktops, now you open an excel and write 1 to 10 as a number. It is not possible for a chat gpt to do it on its own until unless it has got an execution agent, right? So that execution agent is called as ai agent, which will take help of large language model from a backend, has an execution mechanism to go and talk to someone and get an execution done, right? Say, for example, today
Is the agent and agentic AI same?
uh, agentic AI is when multiple agents work together to get an objective done, is an agentic AI. Okay, agent is a purpose built software which is actually built for a certain task,
Specific task.
specific task,
Or
right?
one task at a
right.
time.
So you can have a coding agent, so it will actually generate a code for you in a specific format, right? But what is an agentic AI? When I want to build an I define an objective, and multiple agents work together to meet that particular objective.
Just like
and
a team working for an
just
organization.
like a team working for an organization, right?
So that is agentic AI.
That's an agentic AI.
And what term you used? The bouquet of agents.
It's also a form of agentic AI.
Agentic AI only.
Yeah.
Okay. So whatever we know currently, जैसे Manus AI,
Yeah, correct.
I told you, the Claude Cowork is there, and
Cowork is there.
Perplexity's computer something
Computer
is there.
correct.
So is it similar to what we are doing?
Yeah, so Manus is an agent, okay? Cloud Code is also an agent, right? So what a Cloud Code or a Manus will do is it will perform a certain task,
Certain task.
okay, based upon what is been trained on, what the activity is been defined, right? What I am doing as part of my company is not exactly similar. So probably if in a crude language, I will have hundreds of Manus agents
Understood.
working together, which is been tuned, fine-tuned, trained to do a certain specific task. Okay, so that's where we are specializing, right? So we are specializing in automation, cloud infrastructure automation. That's our domain. Whereas Manus or Cloud Code is a generic agent.
Generic, I understood. So it sounds very interesting, sir. As you said, multiple Manus working. I have
A crude example may
yeah.
not be exactly same,
Understood,
but yeah,
yeah.
similar to that. Yeah.
because I have been using the Claude Code since maybe from 2 months. But now I can imagine the word bouquet of agents, how that must be working. Can you give me any specific example of any of your client where you have applied multiple agents and they are doing the work which you are telling?
Yeah.
One I understood about the system administrator.
Correct. So for example, we have a customer who's part of a regulated industry, say BFSI. So now this customer needs to follow various compliance standards, say RBI, SEBI, CIS, NIST, METI, etc. Right? So what actually happens is, whenever they host an application onto public cloud. They will have internal audits, they will have external audits. Sometimes regulatory bodies like RBI or SEBI will come and audit them, right? So what used to happen is most of the time they used to spend all their time in fixing their systems, securing their systems to make them audit ready. And workloads are changing every dynamically, right? So every week there is a new application getting rolled out, etc., right? So that used to take a lot of time for them to make their application secure, govern and make it audit ready, right? So what we now started doing is, for this particular customer, is with our Quarterly as a platform, we have a compliance management module where we scan the infrastructure for compliances on a regular basis, everyday basis. If something got deployed yesterday, immediately next day we got to know whether it is compliant, not compliant, and then we give an automation to go and make it compliant automatically, right?
Okay.
So before the problem happens, we actually go fix it. Another example is, even if if the infrastructure is getting deployed from our platform, we make sure that it is compliant right from day one. So instead of you first build an infrastructure which is non compliant and then put all the mechanisms, then secure it to make it compliant, why can't we go and make it why can't we build an infrastructure which is compliant from day one, right? So that's our value proposition. So that's what we're doing for a couple of our customers today.
So adaptability is something which I can smell from this room now, because as you were explaining about the journey, one thing I want to ask: adaptability in your journey was a choice, or it was forced by the market?
See, it is always a choice, right? So I think nothing can be forced to a human being. It is always the choices which we make, right? So say for example, after the exit from my previous company, I had made decent amount of money. I could have survived, I could have lived a peaceful life.
Completely retired, something like
Not
that.
retired, but I would have done some job or some peaceful 9 to 5 work or something,
No risk kind of thing.
No risk kind of a thing. But I still did not do that, right? I decided to get into another venture, take another risk, again get into a startup business, which is like a full-time role. It's a 24/7 role for me, right? So I have to think always about company, people, employees, customer. And being a startup, nothing is given to you on the platter, right? So you have to actually work for it, struggle for it every day. So it is not always something which you have been forced. You always choose, right? So if somebody has to shape their career, they have to choose the right path. They have to see what is happening in future, what will actually add value to that particular individual, which technology, which trainings, which courses, what kind of a job. They have to choose, they have to select those paths and then move forward in their career.
Because in our surrounding, even I started my business in 2014 when I was just passed out from the college.
Yeah.
What do you feel is the general myth जो समाज में है, स्टार्टिंग अ बिजनेस का सबसे बड़ा मिथ क्या लगता है आपको, लोगों के मन में क्या है?
So सबसे बड़ा मिथ सबसे बड़ा मिथ इज कि एक बिजनेस बहुत इजी होता है, यानी बिजनेस इजी नहीं होता. ओके, बिजनेस इज डिफिकल्ट. यू विल हैव टू टेक all the risk, right? So for example, I got to know today only that when you were in your final year of engineering, you started your business,
yes,
right?
Sir.
So that's a risk, right? So that's a very big risk. And 2014 was an early days of a startup. Not many people were aware about startup, right? So
Yes.
you took that risk, and that's actually give you a reward, right? So similarly, I also got into a startup business in 2011, and that time it was a very, very big risk for me because I used to work in IBM, and before that I used to work in HP. So had a very good corporate lifestyle, salaries and all that, right? I was married, I had kids. So, and then taking a decision to move into startup, in 2011, when the startup was not a buzzword anymore, that was a risk. But that actually you will have to take risk to get rewards, right? So it's a high risk, high reward game, right? If you don't take risk, you will not get rewarded for.
So is it easy to go from 0 to 1 or from 1 to 100? What do you feel?
Nothing is easy. Nothing is easy because every stage has its own challenges, right? So 0 to 1 has its own challenges. Scaling a business from 1 to 100 has its own challenges. The challenges are different, okay? But nothing is easy. If somebody tells you that startups or even established business are easy, I don't think so. Okay, even if you say, like, if Mukesh Ambani cannot take it easy, right? So today he's running such a big giant corporate and has got best of the people running each of their businesses, right? He cannot go and say that I will just sit and make everybody run the business. I don't think he's doing that, right?
No.
He's equally putting all the effort, even
He's
at
completely
this stage.
involved.
He's
Yeah,
completely involved.
That
right?
is what we see.
Yeah, that's what we even see, right? So that's what is required, right? So you just cannot leave a business for on few people to run it and you take a backseat. I don't think that will happen, right? You have to always be driving the business, making sure that you are growing the business. Not even 0 to 1, 1 to 100, 100 to 1000, and 1000 to 10,000. Even that stage also it's not easy. Every
easy.
stage has a different challenges, and then you will need to work on those challenges at that particular stage.
So what do you feel in 2026? Is it difficult to manage people to bring revenue in business, or is it difficult to evolve from here? What is the most challenging thing which you feel right now in 2026 as far as your business is concerned?
So 2026 from an IT technology perspective has been a very, very big challenging
Very
year,
big.
right? 25-26 to be very specific. Why it is because last 1 or 2 years, okay, technology has evolved so many times, right? Every couple of months we are transforming
Something
ourselves.
new is coming every
Right?
2-3 months. Yeah.
Every 2-3 months. And for example, just 2 days back, Anthropic launched their latest AI model called as Mythos. I think yesterday only it made live. And one of the important thing which actually they only said that this particular AI model is more than 80% of the AI, this AI model is built by AI only. That means
That I heard about ChatGPT 5.3 was made by AI only. That is what I heard.
correct.
Right, sir?
So that means you don't need, even companies like AI engineering companies don't need so many engineers to build an AI model. Right? So that's something which is actually transforming. And
Drastically changing.
That's why you will see a lot of layoffs is also happening, right? So companies are also recalibrating themselves in terms of what kind of skill set, what kind of people they will need to grow it further, right? So 25-26 is going to be a very, very transformative year for everyone, not only for companies, technology companies, for corporate companies, as well as people, right? Employees. Everybody has to evolve, everybody has to transform the way they have been doing their business, the way they have been working. I think we will have to adopt to AI. If you don't adopt to AI, AI is going to any which was there, right? So we will either be there or we will be just out of the race, right? So that
Even you also feel the same. We will be out of the race. Because as you are running a company which is related to AI, do you really feel the risk of getting out of the race?
Why not? Why not? I think what every founder should always feel that they should always have a back fear in their mind, like, will we be going out of the race or not? And that is what will make every founder or every company to innovate.
They will be more hungry if they feel the risk.
Right? See, last year only, not even last year, about 7-8 months back, ChatGPT, OpenAI was the king in AI, right? Just 5-6 months, Anthropic has taken over. right? Google in AI was not there 1 year back.
Yeah.
With Gemini models, they are there back to number 1, 2, 3. You never know, right? So, in spite of raising so much money by OpenAI, still Anthropic in last 2 months with just new LLMs, new models, I think they are ruling in terms of intelligence, in terms of quality, right? So people just cannot relax even for a couple of weeks, right?
But is the power getting consolidated with only 3 or 4 giants? All the Gemini, Anthropic, and
Yeah, that is
power is getting consolidated.
that is one
That
of
is
the
what I
risk.
feel.
That is one of the risk which everybody is talking, right? So today, what is happening, right? So for every question, okay, today we are taking ChatGPT help or AI help, right?
We
So
have become addicted to
we
it.
are we have been addicted, right? So about 7, 8, 10 years back, we used to use a term called as Google it, right? So and we were getting addicted to googling it. Now Google is getting replaced with with AI, right? So now we AI it, right? So everything which we are thinking, we just ask and then get the things done. Right? So obviously there is a risk that only couple of companies, which is primarily US based currently. There are only two countries which is actually have a lot of inroads in AI, which is US and China. And the whole AI power is getting concentrated with these two countries as of now. Obviously, there's a risk. Our government is also working on it. I saw some of the Indian startups are also doing a great AI work. So I think let's see how it happens. But that's a risk which everybody is thinking about.
Everybody is thinking about. So I recently learned one of the concept in the Claude. The name is skills.
Yeah, skills.
So so in Ally sense, is it similar to the skills what we built in the background?
That's right. So basically, what is a skill? Where see, and Claude can do a lot of things. Okay, but if you have to specialize in certain activities, say for example, if you want a Claude to do a financial accounting work in and out, then you will have to go and build a skill around Cloud,
Right.
saying that it's kind of policy guidelines, frameworks, which you go and tell a Cloud that you have to work in this particular guidelines and then get the job done, right? So that's a skill. What we are doing in Alliance, it's kind of a skill, but it's an advanced level of skill for a specific domain, which is cloud orchestration, management, governance, and compliance. Okay, what we call as policy as a code, now some technologies are calling as skills, right? Skills is nothing but policy, governance, frameworks, that, right?
Is it same?
It's similar, not exactly same. We call it as policy as a code, which is more comprehensive, more defined, more controlled. Skills is generic.
Generic skills. So how does it work? Suppose a company wants to automate their task. So do we provide consulting first and then we build the policy as a code in our software? How does it works?
So if you have to automate, okay, certain task, first you will have to figure it out. What's the workflow? What's your process? What's a process, right? So because what we automate, what AI automates is a process, right? So you will have to first define what's a process which works for you, okay? Then understand how this process is actually working, which components it is touching, what exactly happening in and every process, which tools and technology are we using. Then try to figure it out what agents can be used to automate certain process and technologies, right?
तो हम ये कंपनीज के साथ बैठ के पहले पूरा प्रोसेस समझ लेते हैं
and then we can automate the process and then we can build a workflow around it, right? So that's how most of the agentic AI workflows will happen that way only.
And how do you see the next 5 years in this business?
Can you see next 5 years?
No.
So today the challenge is we don't know, right? So and that is where we have to be adaptive, right? So even if technology changes 360 degrees in the next 6 months, we will have to adopt.
नहीं, लेकिन ऐसा लगता है कि अगर दैट इज़ व्हाट यू कॉल एजेंटिक एआई अगर पिक्चर में आते हैं, बिजनेस में आते हैं, तो काम तो आसान ही हो रहा है.
हाँ,
प्रोसेस तो
ऑटोमेट हो रही है ना,
अच्छे ही हो रहे हैं. तो ये तो आना ही है हर कंपनी में.
ये तो आता ही. सी व्हाट आई सी इज एआई अडॉप्शन इज गोइंग टू बी इंक्रीजिंग. ओके, वो तो होगा ही, राइट? सो ऐसा कभी भी नहीं होगा कि हम एआई को साइडलाइन रखेंगे और एआई के अगेंस्ट जाएंगे.
तो होगा ही
नहीं, राइट? हर कस्टमर एआई यूज़ करेगा, हर टेकी यूज़ करेगा, हर यूज़र करेगा. जो टेक्निकल है या नॉन टेक्निकल है वो एआई यूज़ करेगा. ओके, हमें एक्चुअली ये देखना है कि हम एआई को किस तरह यूज़ करेंगे. ओके,
हमारे प्रॉब्लम्स से एआई को अलाइन करना है.
कैसे अलाइन करना है, राइट?
एज यू मेंशन असिस्टेंट इंटेलिजेंस,
असिस्टिव इंटेलिजेंस
कैसे हमें असिस्ट कर पाएगा वो?
करेक्ट, कि हमको सब कुछ आउटसोर्स नहीं करना है.
अच्छा,
ओके. से अभी क्या होता है ना कि अभी एक चैलेंज एआई में मैंने ये देखा है कि बहुत लोग क्या करते हैं, स्पेशली स्टूडेंट्स या फिर जो नए लोग हैं, हम सोचते नहीं है. हमें जो प्रॉब्लम आता है हम एआई के पास डाल देते हैं और एआई जो आंसर देता है हम ब्लाइंडली एक्सेप्ट करते हैं, आगे बढ़ जाते हैं. ओके, बट ऐसा करेक्ट नहीं है. ये करेक्ट मेथड नहीं है. हमको एआई को एज अ असिस्टेंट ही यूज करना है. एंड दैट्स व्हाई
हमें भी हमारा ओपिनियन होना चाहिए.
हमारे भी अपना ओपिनियन होना चाहिए. हमें एआई को बैक क्वेश्चन करना आना चाहिए, राइट? क्योंकि एआई क्या करेगा, वो अपने हिसाब से आंसर देगा और उसके पास तो बहुत सारा नॉलेज है, राइट? हमें पहले कैसे इंटेलिजेंट क्वेश्चन पूछना है वो हमें सीखना है. सो
और उसके पास वो लिमिटेड भी टोकन्स है ना, तो जल्दी से कुछ आंसर फेंक भी सकता है वो. ऐसा भी होता है ना कि नहीं?
टोकन लिमिटेशन नहीं है अभी.
टोकन लिमिटेशन
सी बेसिकली क्या होता है ना कि देयर इज समथिंग कॉल्ड एज कॉन्टेक्स्ट इंजीनियरिंग. सो वी यूज्ड टू हैव प्रॉम्प्ट इंजीनियरिंग एंड नाउ वी आर ट्रांसफॉर्मिंग फ्रॉम अ प्रॉम्प्ट टू अ कॉन्टेक्स्ट.
दैट इज व्हाट वी वर डिस्कसिंग यस्टरडे. दैट इज द रीजन आई या यू कंटिन्यू.
सो बेसिकली व्हाट इज अ कॉन्टेक्स्ट, राइट? सो यू गेव एन एग्जांपल ऑफ financial skills, right? So what is the context is we are giving an AI LLM that how they should be answering to a certain question. Okay, so for example, if I have to understand a balance sheet of a company, if I just upload a balance sheet of a company to ChatGPT, okay, and ask a question, okay, it may give a vague answer. Okay, but even if I go and tell that you are a financial analyst specially trained to analyze this kind of companies and then give some more context and then ask a question, then it will give you a better answer. Okay, so that is what is called as context engineering, where you are telling a large language model that in which context are you getting you want this particular question to be addressed or this problem to get solution. Okay, and that's where context engineering is very, very important. It's more important than the prompt engineering, because now prompts are LLM models are intelligent enough to understand the prompts, right? So there's no issue, right? You can write a shabby prompt, a very dumb prompt, and in models are intelligent enough to make sense out of it.
उतना जरूरी नहीं है. Prompt engineering is not that much necessary. No, context is important.
And this is something which is how the industry has changed in last 6-7 months. 7-8 months back, prompt engineering was very, very essential because you need to write a good prompt to get a good answer.
Yeah.
Now you don't have to write a good prompt to get a good answer, right? You have to give a right context to get a right answer. So that's where you will have to go and change and evolve and adopt continuously to be relevant in this particular industry.
तो मैंने इसका एक एप्लीकेशन मेरे लाइफ में भी किया है. जस्ट करेक्ट मी इफ आई एम रॉन्ग कि यही कॉन्टेक्स्ट इंजीनियरिंग है क्या? एवरी डे आई वर्क ऑन different let's say I use Claude daily. So what I do is there are different projects in that और अलग अलग projects में मैं कुछ काम करता हूँ. So before going to home मैं उसको बोलता हूँ कि मैंने आज जो दिन भर किया है उसको तू समराइज कर ले. और मैंने MCP से नोशन को कनेक्ट किया है. सो व्हाट आई डू इज वो डॉक्यूमेंट में नोशन में आज की तारीख में सेव कर लेता हूँ. इन द नोशन आई हैव डिफरेंट फोल्डर्स. देयर इज ABC ट्रेनिंग, देयर इज अ कॉर्पोरेट ट्रेनिंग, देयर इज अ पर्सनल लाइफ, व्हाटएवर. सो व्हाटएवर आई स्पीक, व्हाटएवर आई डू, आई गिव द डॉक्यूमेंट टू द नोशन. तो मेरे पास अभी लगभग 2 महीने का नोशन का डेटा पड़ा है. सो व्हेनेवर आई हैव अ क्वेश्चन रिलेटेड टू ABC ट्रेनिंग, आई टेल कि जा पिछले 2 महीने का. That is what context engineering
is. That is what is exactly context engineering, that you are training, you are pre-contexting the LLM.
And more the context is more the better results.
More better the result, right? तो वही है.
What are other ways, let's say ये एक method हो गया context better करने का, using the MCP and then using the Notion. Are there any different methods to improve the context of what we work in everyday life?
Say for individual like us, you know, this is good, more than good enough, right? So because पहले क्या होता था कि हमारे पास context window बहुत कम होते थे, तो हमें कभी कभी RAG एज अ टेक्नोलॉजी यूज़ करनी पड़ती थी, राइट? बट अभी कॉन्टेक्स्ट विंडो इटसेल्फ बहुत बड़े हो गए कि मैं बहुत सारा कंटेंट अभी दे सकता हूँ, ओके? बट कॉर्पोरेट्स में क्या होता है कि उनके पास कॉन्टेक्स्ट बहुत बड़ा होता है कि सपोज मेरी एक HR पॉलिसी डॉक्यूमेंट है,
डॉक्यूमेंट ही बड़ा
ओके, जो मेरा 200 पेजेस का सपोज HR है,
पूरा है,
ओके? तो अभी मुझे अगर कोई एम्प्लॉय ने मुझे HR के लिए क्वेश्चन पूछा, ओके, तो मैं 200 पेज का कॉन्टेक्स्ट तो नहीं दे सकता हूँ. तो उसके लिए मुझे रैग एज अ टेक्नोलॉजी हम यूज़ कर सकते हैं. तो रैग में क्या होता है कि वो एक्चुअली वो 200 पेजेस का फाइल को वेक्टराइज कर देता है, ओके, बाय चंक एंड ओनली वेक्टराइज. सो उसको वेक्टर डेटा में कन्वर्ट कर देता है एंड आपके क्वेश्चन के हिसाब से वो वही स्पेसिफिक कॉन्टेक्स्ट उठा के वो LLM को दे देता है, फिर उसमें आपको आंसर आ जाते हैं, ओके?
तो वो कनेक्ट कैसे करते हैं? MCP के थ्रू ही कनेक्ट करते हैं उसको?
नहीं. हाँ. तो आपको MCP तो अभी आया है, RAG तो पहले से आया था. तो AI agents will use RAG and then go to LLM.
So what is the difference between RAG? RAG, MCP, webhooks.
So webhooks is something which is a kind of a tool to connect from one system to another system. Okay, webhooks
to share the data,
to share, connect, collaborate, everything, right? So webhooks are there for last 1 decade. Okay. तो वो तो पहले से ना, जब भी हम दो एप्लीकेशंस एक दूसरे के साथ बात कर सकते थे तो API, webhooks इनके थ्रू ही बात करते थे, right?
So API and webhook is also same? Similar. Okay. So
वो होता था. So रैग में क्या होता है कि रैग में आप वो कॉन्टेक्स्ट दे देते हो, राइट? सो अभी आपने जैसे इन योर एग्जांपल आपने नोशन का जो दिया, राइट? तो आप जब नोशन का रैग देते हो, जो रेफरेंस देते हो, कॉन्टेक्स्ट देते हो, तो आपका पूरा नोट्स एक साथ चला जाता है, राइट?
हाँ.
अगर आपका नोशन का नोटबुक अगर 200 पेजेस का होगा तो उसके कॉन्टेक्स्ट विंडो के बाहर जाएगा,
हाँ,
राइट? सो कॉन्टेक्स्ट विंडो अगर सपोज 4 पेजेस का है और आपके पास नोटबुक ही 200 पेजेस का है, तो फिर कौन से 4 पेजेस रिलेवेंट है,
हाँ,
वो कैसे पता चलेगा LLM को, राइट? तो उसके लिए वो 200 पेजेस को वेक्टराइज कर लेता है, ओके? तो वेक्टर डेटाबेस में कन्वर्ट कर देता है. फिर आपके क्वेश्चन के हिसाब से वेक्टर डेटाबेस फिगर आउट करते हैं कि कौन से पेजेस में उसका कॉन्टेक्स्ट आया है, फिर वो पेजेस वो LLM के पास लेके जाता है, फिर उसके ऊपर आंसर आते हैं.
सर ये वेबहुक और API का तो समझ में आ गया. MCP का थोड़ा बताइए.
सो MCP stands for Model Context Protocol. सो अभी क्या हुआ ना कि अभी बहुत सारे AI टेक्नोलॉजीज है, बहुत सारे एजेंट्स बन गए. अभी एजेंट्स को किसी के साथ इंटीग्रेट करके एग्जीक्यूट भी करना होता है या फिर इंफॉर्मेशन लेनी होती है, राइट? तभी ये बात कैसे करेंगे एक दूसरे के साथ? जैसे अभी नेटवर्किंग में हम TCP/IP के से बात करते हैं, या फिर हम API स्टैंडर्डाइज हो गए तो हम API से बात करते हैं, राइट? बट अभी AI कैसे बात करेगा एक दूसरे से?
हाँ.
तो इसके लिए एंथ्रोपिक ने एक प्रोटोकॉल लाया कॉल्ड एज मॉडल कॉन्टेक्स्ट प्रोटोकॉल, जिसमें से AI एजेंट्स किसी भी सिस्टम के साथ बात कर सकते हैं, कोई टास्क एग्जीक्यूट कर सकते हैं, उसको बोलते हैं MCP, ओके? इसके लिए एक और कॉन्सेप्ट है कॉल्ड एज A2A, विच इज़ एजेंट टू एजेंट प्रोटोकॉल, जो गूगल लेके आई है. तो MCP क्या होता है कि AI एजेंट्स और सिस्टम के साथ बात करता है, दो एजेंट एक दूसरे के साथ A2A प्रोटोकॉल से बात करते हैं, जो गूगल ने लाया है.
तो जैसे अभी एक एप्लीकेशन है, मैं जो सबको एक लाइव एग्जांपल बताता हूँ. देयर इज़ वन सॉफ्टवेयर जो ट्रेडिशनल वे से डेवलप हुआ है.
करेक्ट.
AWS का डेटाबेस है उसके पास. अभी मैंने AI के थ्रू और एक बनाया जिसका डेटाबेस मैंने सुपाबेस का यूज़ किया फॉर एग्जांपल. और इन द क्लाउड आई नीड टू कनेक्ट MCP, दोनों का मुझे वहाँ पे कॉन्टेक्स्ट चाहिए. तो जैसे AI से बनाया है तो उसकी टैगिंग प्रॉपरली होगी बैकएंड में, टैगिंग ही बोलते हैं ना उसे।
हाँ, टैगिंग।
हाँ, तो यहाँ पे जो AWS पे बना हुआ है ये तो ट्रेडिशनल वे से बना हुआ है, तो उसका अगर टैगिंग प्रॉपरली नहीं है, डेटाबेस में डेटा है, सब है, दिखता है, लेकिन वो डेटा क्या वो MCP के थ्रू पढ़ सकता है? टैगिंग भी प्रॉपर नहीं है तो?
नहीं सर, MCP वो पर्पस के लिए नहीं है।
अच्छा।
MCP एक, अभी जैसे अगर आपका एप्लीकेशन AWS में होस्टेड है,
हाँ।
तो AWS ने MCP सर्वर्स अपने बनाए हुए हैं।
हाँ।
आपको अगर आपके एप्लीकेशन के साथ कम्युनिकेट करना है तो आप MCP सर्वर यूज करके आपके एप्लीकेशन के साथ कनेक्ट कर सकते हो।
करेक्ट।
ओके, बट उसका आपका एप्लीकेशन भी MCP के साथ कनेक्ट करने के लिए रेडी होना चाहिए। सो इट्स अ लिटिल डिफरेंट कॉन्सेप्ट। ओके, जहाँ पे आपको MCP अगर यूज करना है तो हमें MCP जो सिस्टम MCP दे रहा है उसको MCP सर्वर क्रिएट करने होते हैं।
हाँ।
और फिर MCP क्लाइंट उस सर्वर से इन्फॉर्मेशन लेगा।
अच्छा।
अगर आपके एप्लीकेशन को किसी और के साथ अगर कनेक्ट करना है तो आपको पहले MCP सर्वर क्रिएट करना पड़ेगा खुद का, जो सो दैट कि कोई और आपका MCP क्लाइंट यूज करके आपका एप्लीकेशन के साथ कनेक्ट कर पाएगा। दैट्स हाउ इट वर्क्स।
ओके, सो जैसे मैंने कनेक्ट किया MCP के थ्रू, गामा को कनेक्ट किया
हाँ,
प्रेजेंटेशन के लिए, और मुझे अगर सेल्स का मीटिंग लेना है कल,
हाँ।
तो मेरा सेल्स का डेटा AWS में पड़ा हुआ है,
हाँ।
तो वो MCP के थ्रू वो डेटा लेगा और गामा में प्रेजेंटेशन बना के, दैट इज द एप्लीकेशन।
हाँ, दैट इज से अभी सेम एग्जांपल, राइट। आप गामा यूज कर रहे हो प्रेजेंटेशन के लिए। ओके, गामा ने एक अपना MCP सर्वर बनाया है जो आप लिवरेज कर रहे हो। ओके, तो आपने एक MCP क्लाइंट बनाया। ओके, वो उसमें एक एजेंट भी बनाया होगा, कोई AI एजेंट बनाया। ओके, कुड बी क्लाउड कोड और एनी, राइट, कोड डेस्कटॉप एक्सेट्रा, राइट। तो वो एजेंट क्या करेगा, आपका पहले AWS का MCP सर्वर यूज करेगा और आपका डेटा लेगा AWS से।
करेक्ट।
ओके, एक बार वो डेटा आ गया, फिर उसके बाद में वो MCP सर्वर यूज करेगा गामा का, और वो प्रेजेंटेशन बनाएगा गामा में। ये वर्कफ्लो है, राइट। तो दिस इज अ एजेंटिक AI वर्कफ्लो, जहाँ पे 2 MCP है, एक AI एजेंट है और 2 इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है। AWS में डेटा है और गामा है, गामा है जहाँ पे आपका प्रेजेंटेशन बन रहा है, राइट। तो डेटा यहाँ से आएगा, वो MCP के थ्रू आएगा और दूसरे MCP के थ्रू गामा के पास पहुंचेगा, फिर वहाँ पे प्रेजेंटेशन।
करेक्ट। तो उसका वो एप्लीकेशन है MCP का। इंटरेस्टिंग है। तो आपके कोई सवाल है रफ़ीक, आकाश, सुरेश? रफ़ीक का सवाल है, रफ़ीक। हाँ
सर, मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है कि जैसे अभी आपने रिसेंटली कहा कि हर 2 to 3 मंथ्स के अंदर कुछ ना कुछ नया अपडेट आता है AI के अंदर। ओके, सो लाइक स्टूडेंट गेट कंफ्यूज कि आज उन्होंने कोई एक टॉपिक सीखा या कोई एक नई टेक्नोलॉजी उन्होंने सीखा, सो वो टेक्नोलॉजी 2 महीने 3 महीने के बाद अपडेट हो जाती है या चली जाती है, फिर कुछ नया आ जाता है। सो व्हाट शुड दे लर्न?
They should learn how to learn new things. Okay, that is the most important skill today. Like how to be curious all the time, how to learn new technology, how to adapt to the new technology all the time, and try to figure it out how to apply that technology in your day-to-day work. Okay, because there are hundreds of new technologies being available today. You cannot learn 100 things today, right? What you will have to figure it out, like what is more relevant to your job, your function today. You learn that, and then you learn how to implement that or how to adopt that technology into your day-to-day functioning to improve your functioning. Okay, that is something we should be learning, right? And things will evolve. आपका जॉब इवॉल्व होगा, आपकी टेक्नोलॉजी इवॉल्व होगी, आप कैसे सीखते हो वो इवॉल्व होगा, बट one thing which has to be constant is ability to learn new things. You have to be curious all the time and then learn and try to adopt things into your day-to-day functioning, and that will actually help everyone, students or a new professional, to survive and grow in this particular uncertain scenarios.
और कोई सवाल है?
सर, मैं अनदर क्वेश्चन इसकी मतलब एक सबसे ज़्यादा पूछा जाने वाला क्वेश्चन है कि लाइक जैसे पहले कभी क्लाउड का एरा आया, कभी वेब डेवलपमेंट का एरा आया, कभी किसी और चीज़ का एरा आया, सो अभी राइट नाउ AI का एरा चल रहा है। सो जैसे क्लाउड कंप्यूटिंग ख़त्म तो नहीं हो गया, चल रहा है लेकिन कम है, डेवलपमेंट भी है, सबसे ज़्यादा AI है, सो क्या कभी AI का भी एरा खत्म होगा या AI भी सिर्फ 5 साल 10 साल या 15 साल के लिए है, उसके बाद कुछ नई टेक्नोलॉजी आएगी या AI के ऊपर कुछ और आएगा?
सो एक कॉन्सेप्ट होता है कॉल्ड एज हाइप कर्व. ओके, सो आप अगर गार्टनर पब्लिश करता है,
हावर्ड गार्डनर.
हाँ, ओके, एक हाइप कर्व होता है कि एक कोई भी टेक्नोलॉजी का एक ऐसा हाइप होता है कि ऐसे वो आता है और सब लोग उसके बारे में बात करते हैं, फिर वो थोड़े कम हो जाता है, फिर वो स्टैग्नेंट चलो हो जाता है. ओके, सो दैट्स अ हाइप कर्व, राइट. सो बेसिकली व्हाट एक्चुअली दैट मीन्स इज कि कोई भी न्यू टेक्नोलॉजी है, ओके, उसका इनिशियली उसका बहुत ज़्यादा डिस्कशन होगा. ओके, बहुत ज़्यादा उसके ऊपर चीज़ें लिखी जाएंगी, बहुत ज़्यादा उसके ऊपर एक्सप्लोर किया जाएगा. ओके, बहुत ज़्यादा आर्टिकल्स आएंगे, बहुत ज़्यादा न्यू कॉन्सेप्ट्स आएंगे. अगर 10 आ रहे हैं उसमें से 2 चलेंगे, ओके, 2-3 चलेंगे, बट वो ग्रेजुअली नेचुरली होता है, राइट. उसके इसके लिए वो बहुत ज़्यादा हाइप हो जाता है. उसके बाद में उसकी एप्लीकेबिलिटी आ जाती है कि हाँ, ये टेक्नोलॉजी इस काम के लिए यूज़ होगी, फिर वो एक स्टेडी ग्रोथ स्टेट में आ जाता है, राइट. सो आज अगर मैं देखूँ तो क्लाउड का कंजम्पशन या ग्रोथ इज देयर. आज के 3 साल पहले जितना क्लाउड का कंजम्पशन था, आज उससे ज़्यादा है. ओके, बट उसका ज़्यादा बात नहीं होता. क्यों नहीं होता? क्योंकि इट हैज़ गॉट इनटू स्टेडी स्टेट. Everybody has learned cloud, everybody knows how to use cloud, everybody knows how to go manage cloud, right. तो अब उसका भी कुछ ज़्यादा बात नहीं होता, बट वॉल्यूम उसका भी बड़ा है, राइट, बिकॉज दैट हैज़ गॉन टू स्टेडी स्टेट. AI के साथ भी वही हो रहा है कि AI के साथ विद दिस न्यू टेक्नोलॉजीज लॉट ऑफ न्यू कॉन्सेप्ट्स आर कमिंग, एजेंटिक AI, generative AI, and many other things, right. Now we are talking about autonomous things also, right. So उसके बाद में ये सब आएगा, एक आध साल में ये सब स्टेडी स्टेट फ्लो में आएगा. हमें एग्जैक्टली पता होगा कि कौन सी AI टेक्नोलॉजीज हमारे डे टू डे फंक्शनिंग में, हमारे बिजनेस में, हमारे पास काम पे आएगी और वो आगे बढ़ती जाएगी, राइट. उसके बाद शायद नया कोई आएगा, शायद क्वांटम कंप्यूटिंग आएगा नया, आई डोंट नो, राइट. सो ये सब आ जाएगा. ओके, in some years we will get physical AI also, where physical devices will start working or helping us rather than AI agents start working with us, right. So we have now started getting humanoid robots also, right, which is getting trained to do certain tasks, right. So physical AI is going to be next big thing.
So this is a combination of robots and AI.
Yeah, that's right.
So अभी मैं गया था दुबई में, there is a event called Gulf Food.
Yeah.
तो वहाँ पे मैं गया था, तो वहाँ पे रोबोट्स वेर एक्चुअली बहुत स्मार्ट थे. रोबोट्स क्लीनिंग रोबोट्स थे, बट दे वर वेरी स्मार्ट. दे वर टॉकिंग टू द पीपल, ग्रीट कर रहे थे.
Correct.
तो आई थिंक दैट इज द स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट.
Yeah, that's the starting point, right. So अभी आप
So you never know, editor will be sitting, a robotic editor will be sitting and editing the videos, something like that.
So today you can actually generate a podcast with AI agents, right?
Yeah.
So there are softwares available where I can record a podcast with me and 4 people, which is nothing but AI agents, and we will discuss. We will select a topic and we'll discuss on that particular topic, right? So I can then have a conversation with AI agents, right? So that's possible today.
It's possible. Do you have any other questions, Rafiq?
Yes, one more last question.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, it is most asked question कि only AI is a cause of layoff or lack of skills.
See, it is not that only AI is cause of layoff, right? Lot of jobs are getting automated, and that's why lot of roles are getting redundant. Okay, and that roles are getting replaced with something else. Okay, that's why when a role is getting redundant, that is where that layoff happens, and another role is getting created, and that's where recruitment happens. People who do not change or people who do not evolve in their existing roles will get laid off. Okay, so if you have certain domain skills and then you build and acquire an AI skills, why a company would want to lay you off? He would want to leverage your both the skills, right? So that's something which is very, very important, that just not get feared out of the AI will take my job or not. AI will not take your job if you are ready for AI.
थैंक यू सो मच।
Okay, thank you.
सो सर इतने कंपनीज अपने शुरू किए, ग्रो किए, राइट? तो जब भी कोई कंपनी ग्रो होती है तो व्हाट इज़ द बिगेस्ट चैलेंज, या सबसे पहले क्या टूटता है? इज इट द पीपल? अच्छे लोग नहीं मिलते, कंपनी बड़ी करनी है बट अच्छे लोग नहीं मिलते, टेक्निकली भी लैग, सिस्टम्स ग्रो नहीं होते, या फिर लीडरशिप का प्रॉब्लम होता है? तीनों में से क्या है मेजरली जो आपने अनुभव किया है?
So, ऐसा नहीं है कि तीनों में से क्या है, ओके? तीनों अपनी अपनी जगह पे प्रॉब्लम्स होते ही है, राइट? सो एज अ लीडर वी विल हैव टू गाइड द टीम, right, in good times as well as the bad times. You know, why should we have a good time leadership is primarily to guide the people that, you know, we are growing but we need to grow more. Okay, we cannot be complacent of the growth. Okay, so that's a good time leadership. Bad time leadership is there are always some bad times for every company, right? So how do you keep focused on your bad times? How can you remove the activities and tasks which is not supposed to be done by this organization? How can we say no to certain activities in our bad times and keep focusing on the right things for your organization? That's a bad time leadership. People, you need to be always a mentor or a leader of people, right? You cannot be a manager. So managing people is that era is gone. You have to become a role model for your people, your people who's contributing to your organization, right? So you have to always be a constant guide and a role model to your people, and that's where people will start working with you. You cannot bulldoze people, you cannot instruct this generation. You have to only influence them, you have to only guide them.
You have to be a coach of them.
You have to always be coach of, you have to be always a mentor of these people. That's where they will give value to you. Okay, that is something which is very very important. And process is something which is you have to go and build within your organization, process and governance. Okay, and that is something which you as a founder, if you don't follow process and governance, your team will never follow process and governance, right? So you have to be a role model for yourself. That's what needs to be done.
Okay. We often see a team is dependent on founder
Yeah.
to work. If the founder is not present, team is not working. So what is your take on this? A team which is driven by their work, their objective, even if the founder is not there. तो ऐसा क्या करना चाहिए कि जो फाउंडर डिपेंडेंट टीम ना हो?
सिर्फ हमें पहले तो टीम को कॉन्फिडेंस देना चाहिए, टीम को हमें बताना चाहिए कि हमारा ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या है, हमारा विजन क्या है, हम क्या बनाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, राइट? जब हमारा विजन टीम का विजन बन जाता है तब हमें ये फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता कि हम वहाँ पे फिजिकली प्रेजेंट हैं कि नहीं है. टीम विल फॉलो द विजन, दे विल फॉलो whatever is the principle of the organization and they will work towards that vision, right? अगर आप टीम को इंस्ट्रक्ट दे रहे हो कि आज तो ये काम कर, कल ये काम कर, तो फिर आप अगर नहीं होगे तो टीम काम नहीं करेगी. आप उनको माइक्रो मैनेज नहीं कर सकते. आप उनको विजन दोगे, आप उनको एक ब्रॉड गोल दोगे,
आउटकम ड्रिवन
ड्रिवन, राइट? आप उनको बता दोगे कि हमें ये चाहिए, हमें ये करना है एज अ टीम, एंड आप उनको फ्रीडम दोगे कि they can do whatever they want to make the objective possible, achievable, right? And you just have to guide them what is the right thing and what is not right thing. Okay, and I said not right thing, I did not say wrong. Okay, because today's generation, you have got all Gen Z kids who's working for you. You cannot just prove them wrong, you just have to go tell them that, you know, this is probably not right. Okay, so that's a big difference between not right and wrong, right?
Okay.
And then you will have to guide them and make them work towards the common goal, and that's where your organization will start working towards the common goal of the organization.
So very good. So you said not wrong but not right. And that is what you need to tell to the team. Interesting.
Yeah.
So how founders should think about exit? It should be a goal or a natural outcome? Because you have gone through the exit process, that is why I'm asking you.
I don't think any successful founder builds a company for an exit. Okay, because that is something which should not be the basis of building a
But
company.
many Gen Z people think like that nowadays.
I don't think that's the right way of thinking.
That's not
because
right.
then you are not building the organization, right? You cannot build an organization which a future goal of exit in 5 years. That should not be a basis of your organization, right? Your basis of your organization is what are you actually achieving, what are you delivering values to your customers, and exit is a byproduct. It cannot be a product, right? If it happens, good. If it doesn't happen, it's good. If a company is profit making, why do you even exit?
Right.
Go scale the business further, right? So it should not be an objective.
But sometimes they may get fascinated with the amount they are getting during the exit.
See,
If the company is profitable that
yes. See, exit is an instant ratification. It's an instant money, right? So it gives them the satisfaction. Okay, that's the right thing. So I'm not saying exit is wrong. I did the exit, right? So exit is never wrong. It's never right also, right? So it is founders' decision or founding team's decision whether they should be exiting the company or not. Okay, that's their decision. Nothing is right, nothing is wrong.
But then how to decide what is the right time to do the exit? How to decide it?
I think every founder will know what is in their domain, right? So, for example, in my previous company, okay, we have scaled from 0 to 1 and from 1 to 100. Now, we didn't knew how to scale from 100 to 1000. Okay, because we were a startup, we were a small entity, we were restricted to west of India as a domain. We did not know how to scale nationally, we did not know how to scale internationally, and that is where integrating with a larger organization makes sense for us. Okay, and that's where this exit has happened, right?
Okay.
So that was the objective for us to go and sell it to a larger organization because we wanted to scale from 100 to 1000, right? So that's our objective, but it cannot be only that I'm building the startup just because I want to sell in 5 years and make tons of money. If that's an objective, you're building company will never get built. Okay, you have to first, your objective is towards your customers. How are you adding value to your customers? And if you are adding value to your customers, in some time somebody will find that particular business interesting to invest or acquire, right? So that has to be the principle of building a business. Exit cannot be a principle of building the business. A founder who builds a company to exit will never succeed.
तो इतने सालों में there must be certain points you felt very low. You felt कि give up कर देते हैं. Not in terms कि give up means not retirement, but ये छोड़ के अभी कुछ और करते हैं. तो ऐसे कौन से point पे you felt कि lowest point of my life?
हर बार आते हैं. सी जैसे कोई भी स्टार्टअप में पहले 12-18 months इज अ वेरी वेरी डिफिकल्ट पीरियड.
12-18 months.
हाँ, क्योंकि उसमें क्या होता है कि आपके पास पहले तो आप कुछ बिल्ड करते हो, तभी आपके पास पूरा इन्वेस्टमेंट जाता है. आपके पास आपको ये भी पता नहीं होता कि हम जो बिल्ड कर रहे हैं वो सही है कि नहीं है. जब तक कस्टमर के पास लेके नहीं जाते, कस्टमर का वैलिडेशन नहीं आता, कस्टमर पैसे नहीं
नंबर्स नहीं होते, तब तक वैलिडिटी नहीं होता आइडिया,
राइट? तो वो सबसे बड़ा आता है, राइट? उसके बाद आप जब प्रोडक्ट लेके जाते हो कस्टमर को, ओके, आप 10 कस्टमर के पास लेके जाओगे तो पहले 6-7 कस्टमर तो ना ही बोलते हैं. ओके, क्यों नहीं बोलते? क्योंकि आपका प्रोडक्ट शायद उतना मैच्योर भी नहीं होता. ओके, तो वो चैलेंज है. तभी भी बहुत फाउंडर्स को लगता है कि नहीं क्या कर रहा हूँ मैं. दे स्टार्टेड सेल्फ डाउटिंग देमसेल्फ. बट ये आपको एज एन अपॉर्चुनिटी लेना है कि आप अगर कस्टमर ने किसी फीडबैक दिया तो टेक इट एज अ पॉजिटिव फीडबैक एंड स्टार्ट इम्प्रूविंग द प्रोडक्ट, राइट? रादर देन फीलिंग लो कि ये नहीं चलेगा. There is a good English term called as tenacity. Okay, what is tenacity? Is just keep on trying until you hit the success, right? So that is something which is very very important for a startup founder. You need to have a tenacity in your business. Keep on trying till you succeed, and you will succeed if you are doing the right attempt.
But what was that extreme low moment in your career?
So extreme low moment, like when we were building Cloud Exchange, right? So first couple of years, we struggled a lot because early days of cloud. So we started in 2016. First 2-3 years, were very challenging because AWS just came in the market. They were also educating. Customer were also not sure how to go to cloud. There were no regulatory guidelines. The banks did not knew whether RBI will allow a cloud adoption or not. Okay, so there are a lot of uncertainties, right? And in that you recruit a lot of people because you need to support a customer, right? That becomes your responsibility.
To pay
I
them.
will not say liability. This becomes your responsibility to pay
pay
them,
them,
right?
yeah.
So that's where you face certain challenge, right? In our business, say Cloud Exchange, 2016 we started. 3 years, first 18 months were struggling period where we struggled a lot to acquire customer, convince customer. Then customer started adopting cloud, and by 2020 we hit COVID, right? First couple of weeks of COVID, we didn't knew what is happening,
What is happening?
whether this business will succeed or not. But touchwood, that actually became a boon for us because cloud adoption increased multifold in
Yeah.
COVID, right?
Yeah.
And that's something which worked for us. But that was a challenge to everyone, right? What if customers would not have adopted cloud, right? Customers may have said no to cloud during the COVID period, right? So then we would have a really difficult time. Okay, but fortunately, touchwood, things happened with good for us, and then we scaled our business for 2-3 years of COVID. Every year we grew more than 100% in that COVID
So that
period.
were the best times of your life as a businessman?
Yes. So I remember first 6 months of COVID, we helped a lot of customers move from on-premises to cloud because cloud was easiest to work from home, give applications from home, right? I still remember, including myself and my team, we used to just get up, have a brush, and sit in front of computer. Morning 8 o'clock to late night 11-12, and we used to only do this migration, modernization, supporting customers. That's the only job we used to do, right? So and I must thank and give credit to my team who were there part of that period between 2020 to 22, where we all of us did very hard work. We worked extensively, 12, 13, 14 hours a day, supporting customers, migrating customers from on-prem to cloud, moving new applications to cloud, giving connections from home to the cloud system. So challenging times, and we worked out of our comfort zone to help customers to work from home and then make their application available on the internet, right? So touchwood, it was a good experience for us. This is how a challenge comes into an opportunity, right? So initially, first 2-3 weeks, we thought that whether it's a risk for a business or not, but within 15-20 days or a month, we started getting positive signs from customer that this challenge is converting into an opportunity, and that's where our business grew multifolds. And we never know, right? What will happen. Okay, tomorrow this layoffs may be an opportunity for someone else to learn new things, and he may get a new job which is probably a better job
Far
than
more
his
better than
existing
previous
job, right? So stop thinking about the layoffs, okay, whether the layoffs will happen or not and how it's going to affect my role or not.
Be optimistic.
Be optimistic. There's a difference between optimistic and hoping. Just don't hope that I will get a good job. Be optimistic and work towards getting a new role and learn your skills to make sure that you get a better role in your next switch.
Correct. So what was the major difference working in your startup as a leader and in the major MNCs as a leader? What is the major difference as a leader? So is the leadership same in the startup or
No, it is different. Okay.
How it is different?
It is different because see, in an MNC, everything is given to you.
Everything is given to you.
Okay. So you are just a position. There is a position. You in that PPT, you are a role in that PPT. Okay. If there is a hierarchy, there's a structure, your name is part of that particular structure. What is this role is supposed to do, everything is defined.
हाँ, लोग दिए जाते हैं,
ओके, लोग दिए जाते हैं, जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन होता है, प्रोसेस पूरी होती है डिफाइंड, आपका स्कोप डिफाइंड होता है, ओके, सब कुछ आपके लिए डिफाइंड होता है, आपको सिर्फ उस पर काम करना है, आपको एग्जीक्यूट करना है, ओके. ये होता है एमएनसीज में, एंड दैट इज वेयर यू फाइंड कि लोग बदल जाते हैं लेकिन एमएनसीज सही वैसे ही रहती है.
हाँ, क्योंकि डिफाइंड है वो रोल,
वो डिफाइंड है रोल, राइट, कुछ नहीं होता उसमें, ओके. रोल लीडर्स चेंज हो जाते हैं, लोग चेंज होता है, शायद वो अगर बंदा सही होगा तो वो रोल अच्छे से काम करेगा तो वो शायद और ग्रो होगी. वही अगर बंदा गलत होगा या फिर नॉट अप्रोप्रिएट होगा तो शायद कम होगा, बट वो
ज़्यादा फर्क नहीं पड़ता,
ज़्यादा फर्क नहीं पड़ता है, राइट, until something grossly wrong at the very top leadership, right? So that's how MNCs work, and that's why they are MNCs.
Wow. What an explanation, sir. Correct.
That's why they are MNCs, right? So even if MNCs entire leadership changes, MNC will still function. But in startups, if leadership changes and there is no other leader who is doing the same job, it will not work.
And there is no job description. There are job description on the paper.
Correct.
But सब कुछ करना पड़ता है.
सब कुछ करना पड़ता है, right? So in my company, you know, I used to jokingly tell to my employees, you know, why I don't give you job description, because job description will define your boundaries. Okay, and I don't want any boundary to be defined for your role. Okay, whatever is needed to be done for the organization, that is your job description.
Correct.
So and sometimes that's a complaint. Some of my employees used to tell me that, you know, आपने मेरा JD नहीं बताया, आपने मेरा scope of work नहीं बताया. But I said नहीं, so
focus on outcome.
Focus on outcome, right?
Results.
Whatever is needed
Required.
to be done for the good of company and good of my customers or company's customers, that is your job description. Correct. Right? And that has to be the objective.
So then what is the reason कि बहुत सारे लीडर्स एमएनसी में जब काम करते हैं सक्सेसफुल होते हैं, लेकिन जब ये खुद का कुछ स्टार्टअप करते हैं, आई एम टेलिंग अबाउट द मेजॉरिटी, वो फेल हो जाते हैं. व्हाट इज द रीजन?
रीज़न ये होता है कि इट्स अ डिफरेंट बॉल गेम ऑलटुगेदर. ओके, कि आप एक एमएनसी में जब काम करते हो आपको सब कुछ गिवन होता है, राइट? आपकी डिजिग्नेशन होती है, आप एक कंपनी को रिप्रेजेंट करते हो, आपके पास स्टाफ होता है, आपके पास प्रोसेस होता है, आपके पास सिस्टम होती है, राइट? जब आप स्टार्टअप करते हो, जैसे मेरा एग्जांपल मैं दे रहा हूँ कि जब मैं HP और IBM में काम करता था, आई वॉज डूइंग अ लीडरशिप रोल इन दैट, राइट? कस्टमर्स यूज्ड टू गिव टाइम टू मी, राइट? सो वो कस्टमर्स मेरी अपॉइंटमेंट लेते थे कि मेरे टाइम के हिसाब से कस्टमर अपना टाइम देते थे, और मेरे अकाउंट मैनेजर्स मेरे टाइम लेके कस्टमर से अपॉइंटमेंट लेते थे. आई शुड गो ट्रैवल मीट कस्टमर्स, okay, and I should do that, right? And when I shifted from an MNC to a startup, okay, the same individual did not give a time to me. Okay, why? Because they were not giving a time to me as a Vishal Chandane. They were giving time to the position which I am running, because I was representing an MNC, right? And that's a realization which I had after joining a startup, right? And that's something which I understood, right? Ki here in a startup they are not taking they are actually, if somebody is giving an order to me, okay, they're giving an order to a company, they are not giving an order to company, they are giving an order to Vishal Chandane, and it's my responsibility to make sure that I do justice with that order, right? In the same situation, when a customer gives an order to an MNC, they are giving an order to MNC, not to the individual, right? Because individual will change, but order will remain the same, right? So that's the difference, right? If somebody is thinking that, you know, I have this so much customer connect and all that, right? In the moment I shift from an MNC startup, I will go to same customer and customer will give me order. No, it will not happen that way. It will not happen that way. Until unless you add a value, until unless you give confidence to that customer that, you know, I will still help you to solve your problem and add a value to your business, your processes, customers will not give you the order, right? So
that is the major difference.
That's the major difference.
And that is the reason people failed after becoming founders.
So basically people who do not adopt will fail. People who will adopt they will succeed.
And even sometimes they get the wrong self-assessment about themselves, as you
Yes.
rightly mentioned.
Correct.
They give respect to the title, the position, not you as an individual in the MNCs.
Yes.
So they carry the same mindset in the
And see, it's a difference, you know. The day on the first your salary doesn't come to your bank account, okay, how to survive for the next month when with no money coming regularly into
Right,
your
sir.
bank account, that is something which is very, very important.
very
right? So,
important. But nowadays, is the word startup over glorified due to the shows like Shark Tank India, or is it over glorified? Because people feel if I start the startup, I will be successful. मतलब जॉब करना बहुत कम ये लगता है कि स्टेटस में कम लगता है, बट स्टार्टअप दे फील कि आसान लाइफ है, बट इतना आसान तो नहीं है, ओवर ग्लोरीफाइड हो गया है क्या?
only 10% startups succeed, okay, and not only India, it's a global standard, right? What gets highlighted only a successful startup, okay. What do not get highlighted,
The glamour.
is what the startup failed. I'll take my own example, right? My first startup did not do well, okay. Nobody talks about that, but I talk about my failures,
Right.
okay, because it failed as a business, but I succeeded in terms of experience and learning, right?
Good.
So that's how about it, right? So everybody talks about how successful I had an exit in my second startup, but nobody talks about my failure. Okay, so that's the difference, right? And why startup has a glamour? Because we only talk about successful startups, and that's a typical mindset which I see in India. In advanced countries like US, even failed startup also are appreciated by a lot of companies, you know. And in some companies I have seen, you know, a founder who was in a failed startup, he has learned all the mistakes and experiences. He's been taken back into the organized enterprise at a good level because he has got all the experience coming in his failed
Especially in
startup,
the Western
right?
subcontinent.
In the Western subcontinent.
There is a
Like
speech of
especially
Sundar Pichai on that.
yeah. In US, I feel that, you know, that's how it is. That's a culture we should get in India, where we should celebrate startups, okay, but and we should celebrate every kind of a startup, successful, not so successful, and failed startup. We should not be only giving limelight to the good or the successful startups.
And we should also change the perspective to see towards the failure, right?
Yeah.
Failure is not an embarrassment.
Correct. Failure is
It's
not
an experience.
right? So India has been always a field of startups, okay. We used to always call as MSME, small and medium businesses, right? हमारे पास इतने सारे रिटेल किराना स्टोर से एक किराना स्टोर एक छोटा सा स्टार्टअप भी होता है, राइट? हमारे पास इतने सारे बिजनेसेस हैं, हम लोगों ने कभी उनको स्टार्टअप की तरह ट्रीट ही नहीं किया, राइट? आई थिंक हमें स्टार्टअप्स और MSME हैज टू बी लुक्ड एट द सेम. Every MSME is a startup.
It's a startup.
Startup is not only into IT or technology or who gets funded and all, right? Every business who is generating employment, every business which is generating value to the overall organization ecosystem is a startup, right? So that's how it has to be treated.
Yes. एक सवाल मैंने आपको थोड़ी टाइम पहले पूछा था, आप उससे थोड़ा मुकर गए.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
तो सवाल ऐसा था कि क्या होगा 5 साल बाद.
अच्छा, sorry.
तो आपने कहा nobody can predict. Okay.
Nobody can predict.
But if we see your journey, आपने क्लाउड को सबसे पहले पहचाना कि दिस इज द नेक्स्ट वेव. आपने AI को, एजेंटिक AI को सबसे पहला, आज लोगों को समझ में भी नहीं आता है, बट यू आइडेंटिफाई कि ये नेक्स्ट वेव है. तो हाउ कैन यू से कि वी कैन नॉट प्रेडिक्ट? तो आप कुछ सीक्रेट्स नहीं बता रहे हमें.
नहीं, क्या मैं 3 साल पहले मुझे पता था कि एजेंटिक AI आएगा?
लेकिन आज आपका उसमें बिजनेस है बड़ा, तो हाउ यू आइडेंटिफाई व्हाट इज द नेक्स्ट वेव?
तो वही है ना कि मुझे 3 साल पहले नहीं पता था कि एजेंटिक AI आएगा.
हाँ,
मुझे शायद लास्ट ईयर ही पता चला कि शायद ये प्रॉब्लम में एजेंटिक AI से सॉल्व कर सकता हूँ.
हाँ.
ओके, यही है. ओके, तो वेव कोई भी हो, प्रॉब्लम रिमेन सिमिलर। आपको क्या आना चाहिए?
वेव कोई भी हो, प्रॉब्लम रिमेन्स सिमिलर।
ओके, आपको प्रॉब्लम आइडेंटिफाई करना आना चाहिए। ओके, आपको एक बार
So the main skill is to identify the problem, just like a doctor.
You have to learn how to identify, qualify a problem which can be solved. Okay, which cannot be solved today with today's available technology, which may be solved by tomorrow's available technology. But you have to start learning new technologies and start figuring it out. Can I solve this problem? Can I solve this problem? Can I solve this problem or not? Moment you find this problem can be solved with this technology, go and adopt.
So the ultimate thing is solving the problems,
Solving the problem, right?
creating the value.
So what do not get changed is ability to understand and qualify what is the problem to be solved, and then identifying a solution which can solve the problem. And solution can change. Solution can be virtualization, can be IT, can be cloud, can be AI, can be physical AI, can be quantum. You never know what it is, right? But you have to go figure it out on that, right? So right skills is to identify the problem.
Identify the problem. What kind of business will be survived in the AI era? Because there is a lot of discussion on that. ये business चलेगा, ये business नहीं चलेगा, ये obsolete हो जाएगा. What do you feel as a person working in the AI? कौन से प्रकार के business रहेंगे या obsolete हो जाएंगे? कौन से प्रकार के?
जो भी business जो AI को adopt नहीं करेंगे वो obsolete हो जाएंगे.
कोई भी business जो AI को adopt नहीं करेंगे वो obsolete हो जाएगा.
Correct. हाँ, business आज AI हर एक business
But can AI completely replace that business?
No.
कोई भी business को replace नहीं कर सकता.
It is an assistive intelligence. I said in my definition of AI, I said assistive intelligence. Okay, क्या doctors AI डॉक्टर को रिप्लेस कर सकता है? कभी भी नहीं.
कभी नहीं. सेकंड ओपिनियन ले सकते हैं इनफैक्ट.
सेकंड ओपिनियन नहीं. आप डॉक्टर को AI असिस्ट करेगा इन टर्म्स ऑफ डायग्नोस्टिक.
करेक्ट.
राइट.
करेक्ट.
एंड फिर आपको मेडिसिन दी जाएगी. आज क्या होता है कि जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल मेरे बचपन में मुझे अगर कुछ बीमारी होती थी, मैं कितने बार हमारा ब्लड टेस्ट होता था? बहुत कम. ओके, सिम्टम्स के हिसाब से डॉक्टर दवाई दे देता है,
एक्सपीरियंस के हिसाब से.
आज हर एक बार कुछ भी होने दो, हम पहले ब्लड टेस्ट लेके आते हैं,
सीबीसी करके आते हैं.
कुछ भी होता, कोई भी
करके.
हम तो रेगुलरली ब्लड टेस्ट कर रहे हैं आजकल. क्यों कर रहे हैं? क्योंकि हम वो एक वैलिडेशन पहले लेके आते हैं कि उसके सिम्टम्स क्या है, और हम एक पूरा एनालिसिस करके आते हैं. राइट. तो आज मैं ब्लड टेस्ट करके आता हूँ, बट ब्लड टेस्ट को ट्रांसलेट कैसे करने का, उसको कोरिलेट कैसे करने का, वो डॉक्टर का जॉब है. राइट. अगर मैं ब्लड टेस्ट के साथ AI इनेबल कर दूँ, ओके, तो आज जो डॉक्टर एक ब्लड सैंपल रिपोर्ट को अपने इंटेलिजेंस से कंपेयर कर पा रहा है, क्योंकि उसने शायद जिंदगी में 5000 ब्लड रिपोर्ट्स देखी होंगी. करेक्ट. ओके, बट AI ने तो 1 लाख देखी होंगी. करेक्ट. तो वो 1 लाख ब्लड रिपोर्ट के साथ कंपेयर करके एक ऐसा कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव एनालिसिस देगा डॉक्टर को कि वो डॉक्टर फिर उस ह्यूमन बीइंग को कोरिलेट करके एक अच्छी सी दवाई देगा और अच्छे से प्रॉब्लम आइडेंटिफाई कर पाएगा. डिजाइन चेंज करेगा. करेक्ट. हाँ, मतलब ओके, प्रिस्क्राइब करेगा. सो क्या मैं सीधा ब्लड रिपोर्ट चैट जीपीटी में डाल के उसका एक डॉक्टर का स्किल बना के मैं क्या डॉक्टर को रिप्लेस कर सकता हूँ? नहीं कर सकता, क्योंकि AI को कभी भी मी एज अ ह्यूमन बीइंग नहीं पता, बट डॉक्टर को पता है. मेरा डॉक्टर मुझे अच्छी तरह से जानता है, क्योंकि मैं हर बार उसके पास जाता हूँ. मुझे मेरे प्लस मेरे माइनस उसको पता है, मुझे किससे एलर्जी होती है, कौन सा दवाई मुझे सूट करता है नहीं करता, उसको पता है. राइट. सो जिस दिन मैं एज एन AI असिस्टेंट डॉक्टर को दूंगा, तो डॉक्टर की डायग्नोस्टिक्स फास्ट होगी, ज़्यादा एक्यूरेट होगी. ओके, तो डॉक्टर को कभी रिप्लेस नहीं हो सकता. सिमिलरली
बट हम क्या AI को ज़्यादा कॉन्टेक्स्ट देके प्रेडिक्शंस ले सकते हैं, डायग्नोसिस ले सकते हैं?
से हमेशा ही ज़्यादा कॉन्टेक्स्ट दोगे तो अच्छा आंसर देगा, बट
कॉन्टेक्स्ट होना चाहिए.
हेलुसिनेट भी कर सकता है.
हाँ.
ओके, अब कितना
कोई भरोसा नहीं है.
नहीं, आप कितना कॉन्टेक्स्ट दोगे? सपोज मैं आपका डॉक्टर हूँ. ओके, मैं आपकी ह्यूमन बीइंग, आपका नेचर, आपको क्या चलता है क्या नहीं चलता, आपको किससे एलर्जी हुई थी पिछली बार, ये डॉक्टर को पता होगा, AI को कभी नहीं पता होगा. मैं कितनी चीज़ें मैं कॉन्टेक्स्ट में दूंगा. करेक्ट. राइट. सो वैसा है. सो इट इज़ ऑलवेज एन असिस्टिव इंटेलिजेंस वेयर एक डॉक्टर को AI एजेंट हेल्प करेगा, AI टेक्नोलॉजी हेल्प करेगा टू आइडेंटिफाई द प्रॉब्लम मच अर्लियर स्टेजेस दैन व्हाट इट इज़. राइट. सो आज शायद हमें कोई भी मेजर इशू स्टेज 3 या 4 में हमें पता चल जाता है। बट अगर हम असिस्टिव इंटेलिजेंस यूज़ करेंगे तो शायद 1 और 2 स्टेजेस में हमें पता कर सकते हैं और उसका हम प्रिवेंटिव मेजर तभी ले सकते हैं और वो शायद हमें कभी वो बीमारी नहीं पड़े और वो कभी हमें इलनेस ही नहीं आए, राइट? सो दैट इज द वे एआई कैन बी यूज इवन इन द मेडिकल फील्ड।
सो अल्टीमेटली इट इज एज यू मेंशन कि प्रॉब्लम ही सॉल्व करता है,
प्रॉब्लम ही सॉल्व करता है, राइट? सो आपको ये करना है कि आप कैसे असिस्ट कर सकते हो डॉक्टर को, राइट? आज हमारे पास इतने सारे डॉक्टर्स हैं इंडिया में, कितने लोगों के पास एक अच्छी डॉक्टर का रीच है? नॉट इवन 20% पीपल हैव गॉट गुड डॉक्टर कनेक्ट, राइट? क्या हम एआई यूज करके वो डॉक्टर का रीच हम लोग एड्रेस कर सकते हैं? कर सकते हैं, राइट? डॉक्टर को फिजिकली वहाँ पे जाने की जरूरत नहीं है। एक फिजिकल एआई जो डायग्नोस करेगा, जो ह्यूमन को कुछ डायग्नोस्टिक्स रन करेगा, उसका रिपोर्ट जनरेट करेगा, उसको एनालाइज करके एक ह्यूमन को जो शायद मुंबई या पुणे में बैठा है, ओके, उसको देगा और वो वहाँ पे एनालाइज करके उसको एक प्रिस्क्रिप्शन देगा और दवाई देगा टू अ पर्सन सिटिंग इन अ विलेज. Probably that use case can be solved.
Physical AI.
It's a combination.
There's a new thing today I heard.
Yeah.
Physical AI, as you said.
Yeah, so that probably a future problem we can solve, right? Today physical AI is not there, okay? But maybe 1 year or 2 years down the line, physical AI may come, and then your physical AI and your artificial intelligence can be combined together, and then we can build a use case. And that's a problem which is worth solving for, which probably we have not solved today.
Yes.
Right? So those type of things will actually evolve, right?
So ये कॉन्टेक्स्ट की बात कर रहे हैं ना, एक सवाल मैंने पूछना रह गया था. व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन कॉन्टेक्स्ट और मेमोरी? देयर इज अ मेमोरी इन द एलएलएम. व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस?
सो आपका कॉन्टेक्स्ट मेमोरी में चला जाता है. ओके, आज अगर आप चैट जीपीटी को सेम टॉपिक पे क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हो, ओके, तो एक सिचुएशन आता है, उसके बाद में आपको तो कॉन्टेक्स्ट देने की जरूरत नहीं होती, उसको पता होता है. ओके, तो वो मेमोरी है.
So memory is a big thing or context is a big thing? Suppose if I give a certain application कि जैसे मैंने नोशन का कहा आपको, let's say 1 साल तक मैं नोशन का एवरीडे वहाँ पे कंसोलिडेट करके रखूँगा. So 1 साल बाद मेरा नोशन का कॉन्टेक्स्ट इज बेटर कि उसका मेमोरी बेटर है?
नहीं, मेमोरी की एक लिमिट होती है.
हाँ,
ओके, तो मेमोरी वहीं तक चलेगी आपकी, तो वो आपके बेसिस ऑफ लास्ट 10 कन्वर्सेशंस वो मेमोरी बिल्ड कर लेता है, फिर आपको दे. तो
कॉन्टेक्स्ट का छोटा वर्जन मेमोरी है, राइट?
नहीं.
हाँ,
आज मैं अगर मेरे बिजनेस के बारे में कुछ क्वेश्चन पूछ रहा हूँ चैट जीपीटी को रोज, ओके, तो मुझे कॉन्टेक्स्ट नहीं देना पड़ता फॉर एनी क्वेश्चन विच इज रिलेटेड टू माइंड.
करेक्ट.
ओके, बट मुझे चैट जीपीटी में एक सपोज फाइनेंशियल अकाउंटिंग का क्वेश्चन पूछना है, ओके, तो उसके पास वो कॉन्टेक्स्ट नहीं है, उसके पास वो मेमोरी भी नहीं है. ओके, तो वो फिर मुझे उसको कॉन्टेक्स्ट देना पड़ेगा, फिर वो आंसर देगा ना. ओके, फिर नेक्स्ट टाइम मेरा कॉन्टेक्स्ट मेरी मेमोरी में जाएगा.
तो रफीक, आपका कोई सवाल?
यस सर, मेरा क्वेश्चन ऐसा है सर आपसे कि in the market there are lots of AI tools or lots of LLM models. For example, like OpenAI LLM model, then Gemini, Claude, and there are big platforms and there are lots of AI tools. So कौन सा ऐसा AI tool है जो मतलब एक्चुअल में मेरे प्रॉब्लम्स को असिस्ट कर सकता है? जैसे आपने कहा कि AI इज अ असिस्टेंट इंटेलिजेंस, राइट? सो इनमें से कौन सा ऐसा टूल है जिसको जो सही से मतलब हमको असिस्ट कर सके, लाइक हमको दूसरी वे में ना बहकाते हुए प्रॉपर्ली हमको असिस्ट कौन कर सकता है? चैट जीपीटी, जेमिनी और क्लाउड?
इसका आंसर मैं दूंगा कि हमें तो तीनों असिस्ट कर सकते हैं. ओके, तीनों इक्वली गुड है. ओके, क्योंकि हमारा जो प्रॉब्लम है, राइट, हमारा प्रॉब्लम इतना बड़ा नहीं है कि जो मुझे चैट जीपीटी कर नहीं सकता है या फिर क्लाउड नहीं कर सकता है या फिर जेमिनी कर सकता है, राइट? ओके, तो अगर बोला जाता है कि कोडिंग के लिए क्लाउड इज गुड, राइट? ओपस 4.6 इज अ वेरी वेरी गुड मॉडल फॉर कोडिंग. बट क्या चैट जीपीटी कोडिंग नहीं करता है, राइट? जो मेरे लिए जो ज़रूरत होती है कोडिंग की, मेरी तो बहुत बेसिक होती है, या कोई भी स्टैंडर्ड डेवलपर की रिक्वायरमेंट बहुत कोडिंग बेसिक होती है, राइट? चैट जीपीटी का कोडेक्स है, वो कोडिंग बहुत अच्छी तरह से कर सकता है, ओके? एक बहुत इंटेलिजेंट लेवल पे कोडिंग का प्रॉब्लम शायद क्लॉड बेटर करेगा, बट हम तो एवरेज,
हमारे प्रॉब्लम्स ही छोटे हैं,
हमारे प्रॉब्लम्स ही एवरेज है। एवरेज प्रॉब्लम तो कोई भी करता है, राइट? तो आप जो भी आपको पसंद आए, जो भी आपको कमर्शियली बेनिफिशियल हो, आप वो यूज़ करो और चलो हो जाए, ओके? ये बेटर है, वो बेटर है, क्या
बस
फर्क
निकल
पड़ता
ना
है?
जाए।
हाँ, क्या फर्क पड़ता है, राइट?
काम होना चाहिए।
काम होना चाहिए। और ऐसा कोई स्किल में डिफरेंस नहीं है कि जो आप अगर आपने चैट जीपीटी में प्रॉम्प्टिंग सीख लिया तो वो सेम प्रॉम्प्ट तुम्हारा क्लाउड में भी चलेगा, सिमिलर प्रॉम्प्ट तुम्हारा जेमिनी में भी चलेगा, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है। आप कोई भी यूज़ करो, चलेगा सब कुछ।
इट डिपेंड्स कि कौन सा प्रॉब्लम हम लोग सॉल्व कर रहे हैं,
हाँ।
क्या पूछना चाहते हैं हम लोग।
मैं तो बोलता हूँ एक प्रॉब्लम तीनों को देखो, दे दो, कौन बेटर करता है।
और पर्सनल चॉइसेस भी होते हैं ना, जैसे अभी जेमिनाई बहुत अच्छा है, जैसे सर ने बोला कि हमारे लिए तो तीनों सेम है, हमारे प्रॉब्लम्स ही इतने छोटे हैं। तो जेमिनाई का जब मैं रिजल्ट्स देखता हूँ तो मुझे पता नहीं ऐसा अच्छा नहीं लगता है, उसका फॉर्मेटिंग हो या कुछ। मुझे क्लॉड का बहुत अच्छा लगता है। तो ये भी है, अभी अपने को क्या अच्छा लग रहा है, बट
तो मैं तो बोलता हूँ कि वाई अभी तो कमर्शियली बहुत सारे सस्ते हैं, ओके? और यूज़र के लिए तो ऑलमोस्ट सब कुछ फ्री है,
हाँ।
ओके? तो आप तो सेम चीज़ तीनों को दे के देखो, क्या फ़र्क पड़ता है? 3 विंडो में 3 मॉडल्स खोलो, एक सेम टास्क तीनों को दे दो, आपको जो पसंद है आप ले लो।
ऐसे कुछ स्टार्टअप भी है ना, जो
ऐसे स्टार्टअप भी है जो
4-5 मॉडल से देते हैं
वो आप मल्टीपल मॉडल सेलेक्ट करके एक सेम आंसर तीनों को दे सकते हो। अगर इनफैक्ट आप ये भी कर सकते हो कि आप एक से आंसर लो, दूसरे को बोलो तो ये वैलिडेट करके दे।
वो ध्रुव राठी का एक मॉडल है वैसा, उसने फॉर्म किया हुआ।
बहुत है।
हाँ, बहुत है।
अरे ऐसे बहुत सारे सॉल्यूशंस हैं कि आप एक मॉडल से आंसर ले सकते हो और दूसरे से वैलिडेट करा सकते हो, ओके? तो आप वैसे करो, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, ओके?
आकाश, आपका कोई सवाल?
नहीं, अभी मेरा तो ज़्यादा काम तो इमेज जनरेशन, थंबनेल क्रिएशन में रहता है, एंड मेकिंग द डिस्क्रिप्शन ऑफ द यूट्यूब एंड
प्रॉब्लम ही छोटा है।
नहीं, अभी देखो इमेज जनरेशन में भी,
हाँ।
इनफैक्ट क्रिएटिव्स में भी एआई काफ़ी आगे बढ़ रहा है, राइट? अभी अपने जेमिनी का वीओ मॉडल जो है, ओके? आप एक इमेज दे दो और उसमें थोड़ा सा कॉन्टेक्स्ट दे दो, वो 8 सेकंड का वीडियो फ्री में बना के देता है, और उसका क्वालिटी काफ़ी अच्छा है, राइट? सो इवन इन वीडियो जनरेशन और इमेजेस में भी अगर आप एआई को यूज़ नहीं करोगे तो यूज़र विल रिप्लेस यू, ओके? तो ऐसा है ना।
रैपिड राउंड खेलते हैं सर।
हाँ।
4-5 सवाल आपको पूछता हूँ। ग्रोथ या फिर कंट्रोल?
कंट्रोल ग्रोथ।
कंट्रोल ग्रोथ। फाउंडर माइंडसेट की सीईओ माइंडसेट?
फाउंडर माइंडसेट।
फाउंडर माइंडसेट।
CEO mindset cannot work, right? You have to always think like a founder.
स्पीड या स्टेबिलिटी?
Stable speed.
स्टेबल स्पीड।
Because
प्रॉफिट?
nothing will work, right? So I came from Samruddhi Highway, right? I could have driven than 50 kilometers per hour, but at the same time I cannot drive at 60 kilometers per hour, right? I have to drive between 100 110. Okay, so control speed actually works better for us.
प्रॉफिट और वैल्यूएशन?
Both are interrelated. Okay, if you have got good profit, then valuation. But I don't think so. We have to work for valuation. Valuation is a byproduct of profit and the growth.
Then in that scenario, profit is also byproduct of what we are doing, the problem solving?
Yes. So if you are solving a problem and you are taking it to market correctly and customers are giving value to that, ultimately you will have profits. Customers will pay to your solution, right? And that profit will translate into valuation. Okay, some startups which I see is, they are just burning money like anything, and they are just making the bigger and bigger valuation. I don't know, right? Whether ultimately they will be successful or not. Okay, rather their controlled growth should be the way where if you have to take a little loss for some time to scale, which that's fine, but you have to have a defined period till which you can actually grow the business on certain losses, right? So moment you have the certain milestone achieved, you have to make business profitable, and that's where ultimately every business has to be profitable, and that's where it will grow. A loss-making business just growing on the back of investors will not last for long.
What is the vision of your company, Ally Sense, for the next 5 years? Where do you feel we should reach over there?
So vision of our company is we want to make the agentic AI as a platform to solve a lot of customers or businesses problems, to address or improve their efficiency or cut down their operating cost, make their business more efficient with help of agentic AI solutions. That's our vision, and that's what we want to solve in next couple of years.
If any young founder is watching you, you have a lot of experience in starting the business. What will you suggest them, or I will rather use a word? What is the one mistake which you will tell to avoid in the upcoming journey of theirs? What is that one mistake?
So first is you have to qualify the problem before you solve the problem.
Qualify the problem before solving the problem.
Yes, because a problem you feel may be a big problem, industry may not feel that's a big problem.
Okay.
Right? Don't try to solve a problem which is not big enough to solve. And that's a big mistake a lot of founders make. Because they are young, they see everything is a problem and they try to solve everything. That is not something, that should not be the approach. You have to first qualify, talk to few people, right? Build a prototype, talk to few people, talk to some seniors, talk to customers, okay? Get an validation. Once you find that, yes, there is enough validation of the problem, then jump onto it, then invest more money and effort into this. Rather than just thinking about a problem like, this is a big problem and I want to solve. That should not be the way. Right?
लेकिन ऐसा होता है ना सर कि लाइक इफ़ आई वांट टू परचेस अ न्यू कार एंड आई हैव डिसाइडेड कि अब मैं टाटा हैरियर लूँगा, तो लेट्स से 8 दिन बाद मुझे गाड़ी लेनी है या मैं डिसाइड कर रहा हूँ लेना है, तो रोड पे मुझे सब टाटा हैरियर्स ही दिखता है. इन द सेम मैनर एज यू सेड कि क्वालिफाई द प्रॉब्लम. एक यंग बिजनेसमैन जब कोई प्रॉब्लम को आइडेंटिफाई करता है एंड फील्स कि मुझे इसमें बिजनेस शुरू करना है, तो उसको लगता है कि ये प्रॉब्लम बहुत बड़ी है. एज यू सेड क्वालिफाई द प्रॉब्लम मीन्स व्हाट, हाउ टू क्वालिफाई दैट प्रॉब्लम?
सिंपल है, क्या ये प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करने से कस्टमर मुझे पैसे देंगे या नहीं देंगे?
ओके,
दैट इज द वैलिडेशन. ओके, बहुत बार ऐसा होता है कि हाँ, अगर तुमने सॉल्व कर दिया तो ठीक है, नहीं किया तो भी ठीक है, मैं तो इसके बिना भी सर्वे कर ही रहा हूँ ना. अगर मैंने सॉल्व कर दिया तो क्या मैं उसके पैसे दूंगा? That is the thing, right?
Okay, so thank you so much sir. आपने बहुत अच्छी तरीके से गाइडेंस दिया, एंड whatever you told about your journey is very inspiring. और जिस तरीके से आप एजेंटिक AI में काम कर रहे हैं, आपने वो सीक्रेट्स तो बताए नहीं बट आपने नेक्स्ट वेव को जिस तरीके से पकड़ा है, सो आई फील ट्रिमेंडस उसमें अपॉर्चुनिटी स्कोप तो है ही. बेस्ट विशेस, आप बहुत तरक्की करो, एंड थैंक यू फॉर कमिंग इन द ABC पॉडकास्ट. हाउ यू आर फीलिंग सर?
I'm feeling good. I hope I could add value to your viewers.
Yes.
And I think viewers will get some knowledge, some inspiration from my journey. I will not call it my journey as very, very inspiring or very, very successful. Whatever little I could achieve, I thought I will share with your audience. And thanks for giving me this opportunity. And I really enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you so much sir, for being so kind and coming to our office for this podcast.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.